Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor and glory to Yahawah, by Hashem, Yahawashi, by Hashem, Rekakwadash, and double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect, all right? Lord, when this lesson be edifying to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native American Indians who consist of the 12 tribes of Israel. It's your fellow servant Yahawah from the GMS Orlando camp, and may this be edifying, okay, Lord willing. Real quick, just was watching a video, early morning stroll, so in transit on the way to work. The Lord is going to harden a lot of our hearts, man. Okay, you got the scriptures, during the time of prophesying, those that try to come up against the truth. The Lord said, I'm going to make your head hard against theirs. Roughly paraphrasing. I'm going to roughly paraphrase some scriptures, and Lord willing, that be accepted. But the Lord said, I'm going to make your your head hard against theirs. Okay, so making us, firm in what we believe. Okay, and not sway. When they bring up, another Hamashiach, another Christ, when they preach another doctrine. Okay, making sure that we are persuaded in our own minds. Okay, but on this side of it, the Lord is going to harden our hearts, our minds, towards the killings, okay, towards the killings of children, towards the killing of, because the Lord said, woe to you to be offended, because the Lord already told us that, hey, the slain are going to be young, old, okay, the slain utterly old man, young woman, but come not near, the anointed, okay, the ones that are anointed by Hamashiach Yahawashi, they have that exemption, that exemption from judgment, okay, but we're gonna be, put in a time where it's gonna be a lot going on, dead bodies under our feet, okay, Eve being ravished, Apostle Hard just said something, on a lesson today. He was talking about the woman, the Eve that got, killed by her husband, or, whatever the situation was, didn't come back in, didn't come back in one piece, died, all right, to the Edomite, who looks to be an Edomite, we just, hey, we're so hardened to, even her bullshit, these children, that we just don't give a fuck, man. And the Lord's putting that spirit on us, and that spirit is going to be built up. That not giving a fuck spirit, about what happens to, people in our own family. What happened to people close to us, or people we know, or even just, through the nation of Israel, period. We just not going to have that attitude of, the sympathy all sympathy is going to be out the door, man. Okay, all sympathy is going to be out the door, because hey, we in the time of mercy right now. This is the time that the Lord is calling out. This is the sympathy time, man. Those doors, those mercy doors are being closed, man, and us ourselves pray that the Lord, have mercy upon us. Have a little sympathy for us. Okay, but in that time there will be no sympathy. You will not get a bit of sympathy unless the Lord makes you the elect in that time, and it will be clear, okay? But you will not have no sympathy if you, chose not to, align your steps to Yahawah shine this time. Now, while the times of refreshing are at hand, okay? You will be utterly, beaten to powder. I don't know where it's at, but it says she, as the mire in the streets. Okay, I think it's Micah chapter 7. She that is my enemy shall see it. Okay, so a lot of women are gonna die. A lot of men are gonna die. Okay, a lot of children are gonna die, and the Lord is gonna have to, build our spirit up to not give a fuck, and it's harsh, but guess what? They didn't give a fuck, when the Lord had to, you know, the men out there, you know, are harping and dancing, you know, and they just can't get along, you know, with the tune, the song that's being sung. It's like he said, well, we have harped to you, but you have not danced. They can't get along with the tune, you know. That's because the vibration on them, the tune on them is of Esau Edom. Okay, so, you know, while they yet had liberty and place of repentance was given unto them, they despised it, man. So that's going to be, you know, at the forefront of our mind in that time of trouble. And the Lord, I believe the Lord is going to amplify the not giving a fuck factor. Okay? That's that, you know, I shall cause thy tongue to cleave to the roof of thy mouth. That don't just mean you just finna be quiet. That comes with an attitude of fuck you. You know, that tongue being cleaved to the roof of your mouth comes with an attitude of, you know, fuck you. You know, I got what I got. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of the times. You know, I got what I got, and through Yahawashi I was shy. You didn't get it. You didn't spend your time trying to get it. So don't try to come in the fourth quarter. Well, not even the fourth quarter. Don't try to come, goddamn, you know, the last second, trying to heap up all this stuff that we acquired over time, in the right time, in the right season. While you were in the season of mirth, you should have been in the season of mourning. You know, it is better to go to the house of mourning than the house of feasting. Okay, and we're telling you, Jakes, that, you know, the house of feast is the end. You know, it's the end of you guys, man. And you're gonna see that in the last days, man. You know, you're gonna see that. You're gonna see when you try to ask questions, you know, to the men of the Lord that's been out there on the highways and hedges, you know, and now you're so intrigued to find out. When Jake get a belt to their ass, you know, they so quick, you know, to change to change paths, you know, to change attitudes, to change moves, you know. And it's not going to be there, man. The answers are not going to be there, man, unless the Lord wants to open that up for you, because you are the elect in that time, man. But the answers will not be there for you, because the answers are here for you now. All right? You know? And Thwadi Yahawashi for allowing us brothers, you know, to be able to obtain this in this crucial time. You know, Thwadi Yahawashi, man, for allowing us, giving us a fighting chance. A lot of these Jake, man, the Lord did not give them a fighting chance. Well, he did give them a fighting, you know, everybody heard that, you know, this truth, this doctrine, but guess what? You know, it's only for the elect. You know, everybody had the chance. You know, this dark man. You had Nick Cannon, Kyrie Irving, these rappers, Fulio, Kendrick Lamar, whatever. You know, this shit. You know, this truth that, you know, went out. Okay, you can't say it didn't go out. It said my doctor shall, you know, drop as my doctor, roughly paraphrase, my doctor shall drop as the rain or the dew. You know, throughout the four corners of the earth. But getting back on topic, man, you know, the Lord is gonna harden us to the fact that, you know, we can walk over a kid, or, you know, because in this, you know, it wouldn't be normal in this time right now if you walked over a kid right now that was dead. You know, it wouldn't be, you know, you if you had the chance to actually call the ambulance and call the police for the child, you know, you would, you know, as righteous men, you know, we want that, you know, the kid at least, you know, get some type of case going, you know, or whatever happened to him, you know. But in that time, you know, it won't be that. It won't be the sympathy movement will be gone. Okay, it'll be nothing but pure hardness from the men of the Lord, and from pretty much all of the elect, the 1/3. Okay. Because our mind is going to be on what's the next move, what's the next? Where is the Lord's voice coming from this time? You know, how do I keep my ear tuned? You know, so I can know the next move. I don't miss the next move. Okay, and they've been working on that, you know, before the times of trouble come. Working on that, listening to that voice, harkening to that voice. My sheep hear my voice. They know me. So we're working on that in this time. You know, listening to that voice that, you know, that gives us the answers on how to move. Okay, along with the scriptures. But I just wanted to get on here and say that, man. You know, the Lord is going to harden, you know, it's going to harden our hearts, you know, harden our attitude, you know. So don't be surprised, brothers, when you just don't feel anything at all, man. That's the Lord putting, you know, a double dose of not giving a fuck, you know, inside of your program, inside of your system. Okay? And we're gonna need that to get through those times, man. We're gonna need that, man. So, hey, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, man. And Yahawashi for a great fighting chance, man. For a great fighting chance. A lot of Jay, you know, like last night, you know, in Orlando, a lot of Jay came up, scoffed and mocked and had the chance, man. You know, scoffed at the benefit. You know, scoffed at the very thing that could, you know, that leads them to something. That leads them to salvation. You know what I mean? The very thing, man. You know? So, hey, it's a crazy time we're about to live in. And, you know, Yahawashi, we are at least, you know, got a bigger fighting chance than, you know, a lot of these motherfucking Israelites, man. Yahawashi. So with that, I'm saying Shalom, call on Yahawah, Bahashim Yahawashi, Bahashim Kabaraz, Barakatah Yahawah, Barakatah Yahawashi, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the whole full leg. Lord, this lesson